Hey guys, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about tracer rounds and whether or not they are pay to win in Warzone. This is something that I actually get asked pretty frequently whenever there is a new tracer pack added to the game, which is pretty surprising because they've been in the game for several months. And I know lots of people made videos like this when they were initially added, but since a lot of time since then has passed, I figured I wanted to make a video since I have had lots of time to play with them and play against them. If you guys do find this video helpful or informative, please remember to give it a like and subscribe if you would like to see more Warzone content from me. In this video, I'm going to be using the Tracer PKM and the Tracer Bruin, and a lot of this discussion got re-sparked back up once they added the Tracer Bruin variant. Since then, the Bruin has been nerfed, but when it was first added, I saw a ridiculous amount of people saying like this Bruin is pay to win. They took a Bruin, which was already the best gun in the game at the time. Once again, this was prior to the nerf, and then they gave it tracer rounds. This is so unfair. It's so absurd. Like, they're just putting this in the game so people buy it, like it's pay to win, whatever. People are calling Infinity Ward greedy. But I actually do not think tracer rounds are pay to win. There's definitely situations where it is more annoying to play against a tracer weapon than it is any other type of weapon. But there's also times when, as the tracer user, it's at a disadvantage for you to be using the tracer rounds. So if you guys aren't aware of what tracers are, I'm sure you've seen them, but it makes the gun shoot a color. My PKM is shooting these bright blue lights, or my PKM is shooting red and my Bruin is shooting blue lights. And when I'm shooting a player, sometimes if they're looking like straight at me when they're getting shot, all they'll see is these flash of lights on their screen. So if I'm shooting at someone head on, like right in their face, they're not going to be able to see anything, especially if they're in a dark environment. Let's say someone's upstairs in a house and it's kind of dark and I'm outside shooting them, they're really not going to be able to see anything. It can also be problematic if you're shooting at someone and they try to turn on you. Like, they're not going to be able to see anything because they are already taking quite a bit of damage. It's pretty unlikely they'll be able to turn on somebody. But even then, the tracer is like going to flash in their face and they're probably going to lose that gunfight. There's definitely times where the tracer feels overpowered and feels like you can't play against it. But there's also times where I see people strictly because they're tracers. If someone's sitting out in a field like tapping me from really far away and I don't know where exactly they are, I almost would prefer for them to have a tracer weapon, similar to how like snipers are, where you can see their sniper, like the lens flare, and then it gives away their location. I feel like tracers do a very similar thing where it gives away the user's location. Especially if you're someone who's third partying a fight, it could be very easy for you to locate that tracer user if he's shooting somebody else with their tracer weapon. I feel like, so the negative is that it gives away your location, and at times when using a tracer weapon, it could be difficult for me to see what I'm actually aiming at. I don't have this problem as much anymore, but when I initially started using it, I had a really hard time aiming with this weapon, especially when I was using the default holographic sight. I have since then unlocked the blue dot, so it's a little bit more minimalistic, but when I had the default holographic sight with the already pretty large reticle, and then I had all the lights going on as well, it was somewhat difficult for me to track my target. There's just way too much going on. So there's negatives and there's positives. And you see a similar thing with the R9 incendiary rounds. Like when that R9 just flashes in your face with the fire, it could be pretty disorienting. And that's where I actually think tracer rounds are best suited, is for close to medium range. And in this video, I have it on 2 long range weapons, but I feel like tracers are best on like an MP5, an MP7, a shotgun even. I don't know how many, if there's any variants of the shotguns with tracers, but that would actually be insane because the main negative was giving your location away and potentially having a harder time aiming. But those 2 negatives really aren't going to be a factor in close range as much as they would for the long range weapons. It doesn't matter if you're giving your location away, because if you're in close to medium range, the person probably already knows you're there anyways, you know? And I feel like a lot more of my gunfights are like head on and close to medium range than they are at long range. If someone's like 50 meters away in a field and I'm shooting at them, if there's not cover for them, I'm probably going to be able to kill them no matter what. Like if they're in a bad spot, the tracer isn't really going to have like a positive or a negative on the fight. They're just dead anyway, strictly because of positioning. But in close to medium range, that's where you get in a lot more gunfights, and that's where the tracers are going to be at a huge advantage for you. So if you are someone who's looking to purchase a tracer variant, I personally would recommend avoiding it on like your long range weapons, but maybe having it on more of like your close to medium range weapons, like the MP5, the shotguns, like I said before. I think there's a lot of MP7s The Ram has a tracer, which I've actually thought about purchasing, and the M4 has some as well. And I know the Ram and the M4 are assault rifles, but if you were comboing it with a sniper and then using your Ram or your M4 as like your close to medium range weapon, I feel like tracers could be very good on those weapons in that type of loadout. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of tracer rounds in the comment below, if you think they're OP or not. Personally, I think it is kind of a gray area. It helps you in some ways, it hurts you in others. It really comes down to the situation. I would prefer if they weren't in the game personally, because it is really annoying sometimes when you feel like you lose a gunfight to a tracer weapon. It's not the most fair thing in the game by any means. It's certainly not like a shut and closed case where it's just like, no, this isn't pay to win and the community's overreacting. I think the community definitely has like a point or like a case to stand on in terms of tracers being overpowered. And the fact that the user kind of hinders themselves in some ways doesn't mean that advantage doesn't exist. You know what I mean? Like, there is pros and cons, but at the end of the day, there is pros. So it really depends on the situation. If you're someone who already has really good aim and you're already playing pretty aggressive, I think tracers are probably going to be pay to win for you. Like, you're not going to get hindered by the lights as much, like if you have really good aim. And if you're already playing really aggressive, giving your location away wouldn't be the biggest deal. Like I said before, with like using it on your close to medium range weapons. So like I said, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you guys another time. Does the PCAM actually shred? Yeah. I think the PCAM is probably the most underrated weapon in the game. It's so good.
Gas is moving.
I'm getting sniped at from somewhere and I don't know where they are, so I'm just gonna leave. The PKM is incredibly good. People just don't like it because it has a long reload. But compared to the Bruin, it beats it out in like every other stat. Like, it has a better time to kill. It has a faster aim-in time. People think the Bruin has a faster aim-in time. But especially with the recent nerf to the Bruin.
You lost the enemy trackers.
The PK and aim in like 100 milliseconds faster, which is pretty significant with how fast you die in this game. This is not good. I'm fighting like 2 ways. I need to finish this guy. No way, dude. Surprised he didn't push me there. He beat me good. I didn't mean to jump on top of that. Yeah, I agree. I mean, the Bruin is still solid, but yeah, I don't think it's the best gun in the game anymore. Like, there's a lot of people that still just use it because they're used to it or whatever.
Now it's a ghost town. Gas is inbound. Marking new safe zone.
Having to take off tack laser and put a grip to have a really accurate weapon, which is the whole point in using it. Really griefs the ADS time. Fuck. I have no extra plates.
Remaining. Gas is close.
way, bro. Of course I had to
Only
reload
5
if we
remain.
can.
You were close
I
to
shouldn't have
victory.
killed that guy that was prone there, but I wanted to.